All right. Well, we want to welcome back friend of the show now, a guy that we're kind of working with as part of Guns Up Nation, our friend Keenon Ward. He comes back. We're talking about the defense today. But before we get into the Texas Tech defense, it was announced when the same day as our podcast announced joining Guns Up Nation, it was announced that Keenon Ward is also joining Guns Up Nation. So that was a pretty exciting day for us to know that a friend of the show is going to be joining as well. So to start off, how you doing tonight? And then just tell us a little bit about your new role here at Guns Up Nation.
Yeah, well, first, man, thanks for having me on. Y'all are a good time. I'm actually so excited that we're all part of Guns Up Nation now.
Yeah,
Like,
that was really
super
cool.
excited. So cool, man. So cool. But no, dude, just hanging out tonight. Just put little man down to bed.
There
I
you
was
go.
looking forward to the pod. But yeah, as far as Guns Up Nation, so I'm officially a partner and a director of athletics. So what that entails is my relationships are still long-standing with the program.
Right.
I have a good name, in the facility. I can go watch any practice I want. The coaches embrace it. They want me to come back, and we just saw a lot of value there. The guys with Guns Up
Yeah.
Nation, right? So, we're looking to start doing a bunch of player pods and coaching pods, bringing on former guys like, Bradley Marquez, Jason Morrow, eventually Patrick, stuff like that. I just have connections to. So
Yeah.
we saw a mutual benefit there, and it almost made too much sense for me not to do it. I had like it was just right there in my face. Great opportunity for me as a realtor, just to
Right.
keep pushing my brand while doing what I love, talking tech sports. So it was a no-brainer.
Yeah, you kind of get the best of both worlds with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was, like you said, it was really exciting, for us to join and then to see you join later that day. It was
yeah,
really cool. We already kind of have a relationship building here. So excited for you, man. That's really cool. Another
appreciate
really
it.
cool thing for Texas Tech, if you weren't paying attention to social media over the last few days, Patrick Mahomes, your friend, is going to be inducted into the Texas Tech Hall of Fame and the Ring of Honor. They posted a little video to shout out to Texas Tech Nation, and then they also surprised him after his preseason game at Chiefs Stadium. The video gave pretty much every single Tech fan chills, I'm sure, of it.
Yeah.
So let's kick it over to you, Keenan. What were your thoughts on Mahomes and this and what it means for him, and just kind of how you're feeling as a friend of his and someone who got to play with him?
Yeah, well, first it was well deserved. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone questioned it. But yeah, he was super excited. He was completely caught by surprise. He thought it was just like
He had no. I
like
thought maybe
he
he
had,
knew a little bit.
no, he said he had no idea. He thought it was like a post practice like meet and greet on the field at Arrowhead.
Damn.
Walked out, and the first guy he sees is Kirby and Gio and the guys, and I think Wamba was there. But it was cool having that video, having him getting to see his dad, which Pat Senior doesn't say much. So getting to hear Pat Senior compliment Pat and his mom and his trainer, that was just super cool, and he can't wait to get down here, and man, he's super honored and super blessed, and yeah, he's super excited for sure.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think it's Baylor weekend, right? That they are
Yeah,
officially announcing him as he has a bye game that week, and so
yeah.
we are all looking forward to that. Dustin, real quick, wanted to give you an opportunity to say what you thought about Mahomes in this honor for him.
Yeah, of course, we knew it was going to happen at some point. We just probably didn't expect it this soon after his
Yeah,
college career ended. I mean, but at this point, like you've seen this with the Hall of Fame guys and other college dudes, like might as well just get him in if you know it's going to happen. Like the guy, how he was here is such a great athlete and talent, and then what he's been as like an ambassador since he's been in the NFL on the Chiefs and trying to give him back and always repping Texas Tech, and even in the Chiefs Stadium we got Texas Tech stuff in there.
Everywhere, dude.
It's really cool what he's done in the last handful of years past post Texas Tech.
Yeah, with Lubbock like South Kansas City, essentially, pretty much at this point.
Did they cut you out of the video? Where was your part?
Yeah.
Man, I guess so. I guess I was on the back end of it, and they just had to cut it short.
Time for you.
Yeah, man. Hey, as long as I get those tickets, the Arrowhead Bucks tickets, I'm good, bro. Keep me out of it.
Yeah, you're not going to miss out on the part that everybody's going to be jealous of.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, my personal thoughts, I thought it was awesome. Everything that he's done in his professional career, he has always repped Tech. He was there at the Final Four. He's always been a huge advocate of this university. And I think, yeah, you kind of have to recognize a guy who's achieved what he has in his professional career. Kids grow up loving this dude. Guys our age love this dude. Guys who are my dad's age love this dude. Like, he's generational talent. He's probably the most talented quarterback that'll ever come through Texas Tech. So, yeah, it makes sense. I know there's like rules and stuff for the Ring of Honor. But I think, you break those for Mahomes for sure.
Yeah, you make it right, especially, like we said, everything he's done for the program. You go to Arrowhead and you're like, dang, is this Jones AT&T? Like, it feels the same, and that's all him. Like, he reps Tech to the fullest, and no one's more deserving.
Yeah, it would feel really awkward to not have him in that. Like, it would just not be right. So, we're all going to be looking forward to that day, to that Baylor game when we get to see him and the Jones. It's going to be crazy, crazy atmosphere. It's going to get loud.
So, hey, what's up with Pat coming back for all the Baylor games?
I know, right?
I know that the football side, it just kind of worked out that way, but basketball, the Baylor game, football, Baylor, whatever.
Oh, I'm good with it. We got to build this Baylor rivalry.
We need that extra juice.
Yeah. It was already going to be rocking for the Baylor game, with our coaching staff, but it'll be extra lit for sure.
Oh, yeah. So looking forward to that. Some other news that dropped over the weekend is that we do have a QB1 now. We know who's going to be starting for us. It was kind of speculated, but Tyler Shuck gets the nod as QB1. So, Keenan, your thoughts on Tyler Shuck earning that QB1 spot? We know it was a very competitive battle between three guys who are qualified for that role. So what are your thoughts on that?
Dude, all three guys are studs. Going back, I went to probably 5 or 6 practices during the spring, been to both practices during the fall, or both scrimmages during the fall, and they can all three ball, and it's a good spot to be in. But, you kind of hear the vocal part of it, the leadership on the field at practice. Shuck just kind of stood out, and we all kind of knew, even the staff, they kind of hinted at it. I think we always knew Shuck was a guy, but the competition was tight, and that's just credit to the two studs we have behind him. But, man, Shuck, I'm super pleased with it. He's gonna do crazy stuff with Kitley's offense and our multiple offensive packages, and if he can stay healthy, he's in for a big year for sure.
Yeah, I know me and Dustin are excited for that. We've talked about, the offense and kind of broken all that down. So not going to, rerun that stuff, but wanted to get your thoughts on that. But we brought you on here to talk about defense. You know more about defense than the both of us combined. We want your expertise on that. And so, last time we talked to you, man, we were heading into the Wells, the last season of the Wells era. People were kind of excited, kind of skeptical, and now we all know how that turns out. Now enter Joey McGuire, a whole new era of Texas Tech football. So to start, it seems like your relationships have been good with this coaching staff moving forward.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on Joey McGuire and this season that's just under 2 weeks away from getting kicked off?
Yeah, man. First off, this coaching staff is electric. Any practice I go to, I'm like, damn, I wish I could have played for these guys.
I love it.
You feel that energy, and I feel like the staff that we have is gonna make a difference. In a game or two that could have gone either way. I feel like our coaching staff is really gonna seal the deal for us. In a couple tight games, but just like Fitch, that dude does not take anything less than perfect from his D line. So, and we've talked about obviously we got Bradford, we've got Hutchings, and we've got Tyree Wilson. But, he's pushing these young guys, man, and I'm not really worried about our 5 and 6 because I know Fitch is not going to put a product on the field that isn't ready to go. So I know that's a big concern, our D-line, but just seeing the way he pushes those guys, whoever goes on that field, they're going to be ready. But and it helps having those three studs, those three seniors lead the pack for sure. But, dude, just super, super deep this year on the defensive side. A lot of experience. A lot of seniors, and we're going to see it for sure. Yeah.
That's really exciting to hear. One of the things that was a big topic of our conversation last season was Keith Patterson and the consistency on the defensive side of the ball of having a coach who's actually been there for some time. Well, enter a new coaching staff, enter a new defensive coordinator, and Tim DeRuter enters his first season as our defensive coordinator, but he comes with a lot of experience. He was a head coach at Fresno State. He's been a DC at A&M, Oregon most recently, and then Cal on top of that. So your thoughts on Tim DeRuter so far and kind of what you think he brings to this defense?
I love his man, he's all about going to get the ball on third down. He's he doesn't put a lot of pressure on his defensive backs to make tackles. He kind of tries to funnel everything to his linebackers, the Von Millers, some of the guys he coached. I mean, they got a lot of tackles. They got better. Yeah, they got better through his defense. And I love the 3-4. I love that he likes to bring a lot of pressure. You're going to see a lot of crazy things between obviously our two middle linebackers. So Merriweather, our vet, and then we have Josiah Pierre. But Kosai Eldridge, number 6, is kind of our hybrid guy who in a lot of defenses could have played safety, probably would be playing safety. But he's got the size and the speed, and we plug him into these linebacker spots, and he flourishes because he's just a lot faster. So he has a good eye for where he can put his best players, and you just got to respect that, for sure.
Yeah. Dustin, your thoughts on Tim DeRuter and kind of what you're looking forward to with him this season?
Yeah, I like what he brings experience-wise, and especially being a former head coach. Coach McGuire has praised him as being like he has familiarity with him just being a coach, but he also likes having a former head coach that he can go to. Yeah. Hey, am I doing this the right way? Like, put your head coaching, hat on and help me out real quick, and then go back to being my DC. So I think that's a great utility to have for Coach McGuire. Kind of getting into this newish kind of role at this level. And so I'm excited to see what he brings. We're going back to that kind of 3-3-5 look that we tried once upon a time, Cliff days. But I think with this group that we have, and especially like our D-backs being a lot of veterans coming back, I think that system will help them a lot. And like it all fits together. Like Keenan said, we have a lot of veteran guys, and he's going to get guys in the right spot. And so I think that versatility of his defense will definitely help us out also.
Yeah, like seriously, guys, I think like our dime and quarter packages are going to be our most talented defenses. Just because we have 8 or 9 DBs who can go, and they're super athletic, and their ball skills are insane. And dude, like it's fun to see for sure.
So I guess one of the things I was kind of curious about, one of the things last season that was talked about a lot was that 3 front and kind of our inability to really deviate from that if it wasn't working. Are there things from Coach DeRuter that you're thinking are going to be a little different this year than maybe things that we've seen in the past with Keith Patterson, and maybe some flexibility on things if it's not working, maybe to adjust?
Yeah, so I think, DeRuter is very experienced, and I don't think he's too prideful. If something's not working, I've seen him. Like, he is a 3-down front type of guy, but he knows if we're not getting pressure, we've got to send something off the edge or get versatile with our linebackers and get pressure. Like, he's going to get pressure, and if he doesn't, he'll find a way. We won't be in that 3-3-5 or 3-4. Like, we'll make the proper adjustments, and it's just, man, I just hats off to him for putting the pride aside and doing the right thing when it's needed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to criticize Keith Patterson a whole lot because I know that there's some interesting, I think his defense was able to hold up at times, but I'm going to kick it over to Dustin right quick because he does have some defensive stats for us last season before we start kind of going down position by position here.
Yeah, so I just wanted to recap last year and look into defense, and it's not great. It's like Brooks, like looking this stuff up, it hurt my eyes. We were 8th in the Big 12 overall, 33 points a game, 422 yards. Almost every category you look at, we're about 8th, 9th, or 10th. And, I mean, we gave up a couple of interesting things. We had the most defensive plays by any other Big 12 team by a good margin. We had almost 973 plays, like almost 1,000 plays with those guys. Yeah.
I don't know what's the average.
I know the run game wasn't bad, but like we had those games like TCU and Texas where we got absolutely gashed. And like that was our best unit was the run defense. To have 2 games like that is just glaring. But the pass defense was pretty awful. They gave up the most yards in the Big 12 at 270. They gave up the most passing touchdowns at 34. And Kansas was second last with 27. We gave up 7 more than them.
I didn't.
We only had 21 sacks, and that's 8th. And we gave up – here's another couple interesting things. We gave up the most first downs by quite a big margin, and we were worst on 3rd down and 4th down in the Big 12.
Can't win with it. But
a lot of 8th, 10th place finishes for that group last year. And I know some of it was, we didn't get pressured, and then we had some defensive backs get hurt. But then the other thing is you lost your top 2 guys from that defense last year that were pretty good ballers, and Eric Monroe and Colin Schooler. So thoughts, Keenan, on anything from last year, anything I pointed out, or something else you might know?
I know for a fact we're still going to have the most plays on defense next year. Just by the way, Kidley operates. We're by far had the most plays when I was playing. Same tree with Cliff and Kidley. But the difference is, I think, is just goes back to the depth. That's what makes it fun when at safety, like you can go get that post full speed, and your 2 can come in and keep things afloat for 3 or 4 plays. So you need to get back in there. But like I said, dude, Patterson is emphasizing sacks. Like they did some upgrades to the locker room. Like as soon as you walk in, it's like a leaderboard on sacks. And I know. Like obviously the only way is up because we were like 8th, 9th, 10th. But like I think it's going to be substantially different as far as pressure, which in turn, you get pressure on the quarterback, things get easier for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's just a different defense, different mindset, man. The stats last year were the stats, but fresh start, new system, new players, pretty much. I think the players that we lost last year, they were studs, but I like the youth that we have. I think the guys that we have replacing, Schooler and Monroe are, I don't say better, but faster, and we're definitely deeper. So we have a lot more versatility. So I'm not really worried about the stats at all. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, and like Connie brought up there, new staff, new coach, that brings new hope. That brings that's brought on a whole new energy for Tech fans. Like we're looking at a completely new staff. Who knows how this defense will be, but it starts up front in the trenches. You already touched on him a little bit, but probably one of my favorite hires is Zarnell Finch. I was listening to the Big 12 media days, and Rabbit was saying that the coaches go and play lunch ball, and Zarnell Finch calls himself Fat Curry. Oh my gosh, I love this guy. So just touch on Zarnell Finch a little bit more. You kind of made a point on him, but touch on him and kind of what he brings to this defensive line, which I think right now is probably the most questionable.
Sure. No, but like I said, I trust Finch. He's just electric, and you watch him coach, and you feel the passion. And like I said, I wish I could have played for a coach as passionate as he is. He has a standard, and whether you're a senior, transfer, grad transfer, freshman, if he's going to put you on the field, you got to live up to that standard, or you're not going to play.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel better. But also the 3 leaders that we have, man, they're studs. Tyree, dude, who knows? Potential first rounder. And then you got Bradford and Hutchings, who are just vets, man. They do everything right, and they're good leaders. And that's only going to up the bottom. The 4 or 5 guys who are on the edge. That's just going to make their game better.
Yeah.
But Cole's a transfer who's really stood out. He's like the same size as Tyree. Like this dude's a monster. So we've got some guys who can play. We just got to figure out, when it comes down to it, in between the whistles, who can do the right thing, fill the right gaps. But like I said, all praise to Fitch. I know he's going to put the right people in, and they'll figure it out for sure.
Yeah, in his recent track record, he's been at TCU, and if you're familiar with TCU's defense, they've always had a really good defensive line. That's one of the things that they're running. Yeah. And so, Dustin, your thoughts on Coach Fitch? anything that Keenan didn't hit on.
He's been electric and like he's all about he's a quarterback hunter.
Yeah,
what he calls him those dudes.
Yeah.
He's brutal about it, and I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wants to go kill the quarterback. Let's go.
Bring some nasty.
That's the kind of mentality you need. And we talked about it kind of like our O-line coach. I like our D-line coach to have that kind of aggressiveness too. And so that's good to have, and that energy's good. So I love it.
For sure.
Yeah. So Keenan, you're doing a good job of like touching on everything I'm going to do. But like the first thing on the defensive line that I think of is Jalen Hutchings and Tony Bradford. They've been here for a long time. What do they bring to this group that, we can obviously tell the coaching staff they brought in the transfers. You got Vidal Scott, Miles Cole. You've got a lot of young guys on this defensive line, but what does it specifically mean to have two guys who are like super bought into Texas Tech, who have been here for a long time, that are still here for you in this, first season of the McGuire era?
Yeah, dude, I think that's the most valuable thing. Coaches are going to coach, but as a teammate, seeing, these guys like Jalen and Bradford who put on the film are doing the right thing. Like they are the standard. You're watching as a freshman, you're watching them do the drills every single day. You're watching them fill the right gaps live, like you see it. And they're very vocal. And they have standards too. And I mean, as a coach, that's a blessing to have two guys that are just stamped, on the D front that can hold it down and show that they can, series in and series out. So it's just going to up the game. Lot of youth, but I feel like having these two guys is going to definitely up the game for all the young guys for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited about them. And like one of the cool things is they seem as good as they are on the field. They seem like better people off of it, and that just like those are the dudes you love rooting for. And so it's been a privilege to get to watch them play for us for so many years. Dustin, your thoughts on these two guys and what your kind of expectations are for them?
Yeah, I feel like the last 2 years we've mentioned them like, hey, they're a big part of this D line, so our linebackers can do work.
Yeah.
They got to do it again, especially with our linebacking core. We lost Schooler and Rico, so our linebacking core is probably the least experienced group out there. And so now we experienced D linemen like these two guys to hold their own. Not let TCU and Texas gash us.
Yeah, no kidding. They got the biggest roles. It starts up front. But I mean, I couldn't handpick two better guys than Tony Bradford and Jalen Hutchins to set that front. So I'm feeling good about it.
So another guy, and we'll talk about him here. He's listed as an outside linebacker, but we know Tyree Wilson is going to be causing havoc with quarterbacks all season. This dude is an athletic specimen. If you saw the photos of media day, he just towers over everybody. And some of those dudes was Caleb Rogers, an offensive lineman. He's just like towering over these dudes. He looks like he was created in a lab. Has there, Keenan, in your opinion, when was the last time like Texas Tech's had a defender he's getting hype. He's gotten like a little bit of, first overall pick type buzz. Like when's the last time we've had somebody like that? And what are your expectations for him this season?
Man, I haven't seen a guy just bigger and faster than everybody since, I played with Kerry Hyder, but he wasn't bigger or faster. He was just found his way to the ball. But Pete Robertson, 2013, when he had 12 sacks, just one of those guys who has everything, has all the tools. Dude, he's in for a big year. He's healthy. I feel good about, but like I said, like we were 8th, 9th, 10th in sacks. I'm telling you, that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
This dude, when he's healthy, no one can stop him at all. And then I was watching, Miles Cole, who I said is, dude, just as big as Tyree is. I mean, once we get him going, it's going to be dangerous, these two guys coming off the edge for sure.
Yeah, Dustin, I know you wanted to talk about Tyree here.
Yeah, I mean, he's by far our number one dude out there.
Yeah.
I mean, we were 8th in sacks, but he led the team in sacks. So at least we're bringing him back to keep padding on those stats. And I mean, even back when we had Jordan Brooks, he was a first round draft pick, and he didn't have this much hype, And he led the team by far and dominated as a linebacker, that year, that his senior year when he was here. But
For sure.
it's going to be amazing to see what this defense can do with him, this coaching staff, because I know Coach McGuire has kind of bragged about it. Like, we're going to move him around. We don't want teams getting comfortable with where he's going to be. He's going to be moving all over the place, inside, outside, dropping into the flats every now and then. That'll be kind of fun to see that size out there.
Oh, yeah.
Bet they don't throw that swing pass to that little running back out there now.
Oh, yeah. I can see him right now just destroying like a slip screen or a bubble. It's gonna be havoc out there. Yeah.
The versatility is going to be fun. And the health is by far the thing. So we can have him healthy. I mean, a lot of times when you mentioned a couple other guys like Pete and Kerry Hyder, when we've had a sack guy, our defense obviously does better. And I mean, you see that everywhere.
Absolutely.
Your secondary loves having a guy that goes and gets sacked.
Absolutely.
It's a domino effect. So if he can ball out and cause havoc, we would love that.
Absolutely. I know. I mean, Patterson, like I said, man, he's very multiple. He's got a lot of stuff, man. A lot of different approaches to get into the quarterback. So it's going to be fun to see how he opens up Tyree to get to the ball for sure.
Yeah, I think like offense for me, it's Miles Price that I'm like really excited about. Defense, I think for me, and I mean almost every Red Raider, I think it's Tyree Wilson, because we just haven't had a guy who's just like a play wrecker who can just by himself just completely destroy an offensive play. And you saw that a few times last year, like especially in that Mississippi State game. He had a couple plays where he just blew through, and it was that play was dead for them. And so, yeah, I'm super excited.
Definitely brings back memories, Jakeem and Kiki.
Yeah,
we've always had that slot, and for the past couple years, it's been absent. But he gives that same vibe for sure.
And so it's cool to have guys like that on both sides that you're just like, oh my gosh, like we could have some special seasons from this, and who knows, like he could legitimately play himself into a top 10 pick. Keenan, could you see that happening?
Oh, yeah, dude. Miles Price, man, you go out and watch.
I'm talking Tyree here.
Oh, Tyree.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Absolutely. There's no reason, obviously, you got to stay healthy. But if he plays, all 12 games, I don't see how he could not go first round. Because, I mean, he has all the tools.
So a couple other things on this defensive line right quick. You did touch on it again before, the youth on this defensive line. One of the first things that you saw as soon as we hired McGuire, a lot of the younger guys we're getting right now are either offensive line or defensive line. And so I think there's like 4 or 5 freshmen on this squad on that defensive line. So from what you've seen at practice, your thoughts, like what are we going to be able to see from these younger guys on this defensive line this year?
I think it's going to be a lot of plug and play. Obviously, we're going to have the most snaps in the Big 12, just the way our offense, just the way they do things. So, I mean, like I said, having those 2 staples, 3 staples, 3 vets, we'll see a lot of rotations within, whether it's an end guy or it's a DT or it's a nose. We'll see a lot of young guys kind of just – I doubt we'll ever see, 3 freshmen in at once.
Right.
But we'll see these guys, rotating in with the staples around them to, let the freshmen, play free without having to worry about doing too much. But yeah, I think we'll just see a bunch of rotations.
Well, Dustin, your thoughts on some of the freshmen that we're adding and expectations on them this season?
Yeah, just like kind of like Keenan said, everything I'm hearing and reading is we have some depth, but we're going to need it. Like that's what you see all these top schools being able to do is rotate their defensive front and not have a huge drop off. So having 1 or 2 guys that can fill in for some plays here and there, give these guys a breather and then back on, that's going to be clutch. So hopefully they can fill in, and it's good to hear like talking about Miles Cole, like being an animal. It's nice to hear like some of these transfers and the young guys are making an impact already.
Yeah, we're gonna need it. I remember playing LSU in 15 and just watching, watching their offense, even their O-line, D-line, like every 3 or 4 plays, these guys would do complete rotations. Like, bro, they didn't even run hurry up either. Like they took, 25, 30 seconds off the clock after every snap, and they were still rotating. And I was just thinking, like, that's the difference.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So obviously you can see we knew coming in O-line, D-line, we're very slim, and McGuire and staff are addressing that because depth is a key.
Yeah, they've loaded up with transfers, a couple of transfers here. You've talked about Miles Cole and kind of what you've seen out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Vidal Scott? I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it, but he's another transfer who's coming, who's supposed to be a big boy plugging up that line.
Him and is it Philip Bleedy?
Yeah, Philip Bleedy.
Yeah, I had him written down.
Yeah, so
Bleedy.
Those other guys we haven't really been able to touch on yet. What are you thinking from them and their ability to also spell these guys like Hutchings and Bradford out there?
Yeah, obviously they're not getting very much praise because the three staples are just kind of holding it down. But they're working hard, and like I said, man, Fitch is not going to put something out there that's not going to represent, the toughest, most physical, hardworking team in the country. Like, he's just not going to do it. So, I mean, everybody's getting better. Obviously, we're very thin. We got to stay healthy on the D-line. But just know, like, those guys who aren't starting, they're ready to go because they have to be.
Yeah, and it's been impressive to just see what the recruiting has done because, hey, like it might be a little lack of depth on that right now at the start, but we're getting young guys in that are going to be able to fill in on the defensive line for years and years, and you're going to be able to build them up and that's just like something we've lacked in recruiting over these last few years is Wells didn't really try to replenish those with young guys that you can build up, get into those, strength and conditioning programs and really build them out. So let's kind of move on to the linebackers here. CJ Ayu and Josh Bookbinder lead the linebacking corps as coaches. What have you kind of seen from them and what do you expect from them this season?
Well, yeah, we got Merriweather, who's the old head. He's definitely going to be our leading tackler. But he's a good leader. He's the oldest one on that group. Then you got Pierre, Josiah Pierre, number 8. He's had a great camp. I've seen this dude fly around, and he's just electric. He brings that energy that coaches want out of a player. And then you got the transfer from Virginia, Wichita Falls Rider guy, Jacob Rodriguez, who made the transition in the spring to linebacker, who is literally, dude, been killing it. I've seen him go with the 1s, 2s. He's on special teams. I mean, he's just one of those. He's West Texas tough, man, and he's going to get a lot of snaps because he earned it. He definitely earned it, and I'm excited to watch him play. Always love the position swap guys. That just shows that we're football players and we can do it. But and then like I said, Kosai, he's a guy who'd be playing safety anywhere else, but we're just so deep on that back end that we found a way to play him on the outside, and he's just because he's like 240, so he has a size to fill the A, B, C gap. But
because on the roster he's a DB, but like apparently like Don Williams tweeted out today that he's going to be one of the starting outside linebackers.
Yeah, dude, he's definitely going to be a starting linebacker, and you can just tell, man, he's just a hybrid, and he's just faster than everybody up there. And it's fun to see. He flies around. I wouldn't be shocked if he, through 4 or 5 weeks, he's leading tackles.
Damn. So Dustin, your kind of outside thoughts on this group, Krishan Merriweather. We've had it's kind of crazy because people like to shit on our defense, but we've had like some really solid linebackers over the years. Like we've just kind of been churning out linebackers. This year, Krishan Merriweather is that guy, I think, for this crew. What are your thoughts about him this season?
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going to go. It's nice to have a veteran linebacker that has kind of flown under the radar the last few years just because we've had really other good dudes.
Yeah.
It's good for him. He can just go out and ball because he really has. And then he can learn from guys like Schooler and Rico Jeffers on what they're doing and how they're doing it on and off the field. And so for him to come into this season and take over that leadership role he's more than ready for that. So that's kind of nice to have. Like you said, we've kind of gotten used to having a solid veteran linebacker for the last more than handful of years with Jordan Brooks and Dakota Allen and so on and so forth. Like it's nice that we just have another dude we can fill in. Hey, you're super senior this year. It's your time to shine, man. Go for it.
So let's kind of talk about some of the other linebackers. Keenan did a good job of naming some of them. Some of the other ones we haven't talked about yet. Dimitri Moore, transfer. He was at Vanderbilt. He's a guy who I think is he was beat out by Kosai at that position, but he seems to be a guy who's going to be playing a lot of snaps. Typically, you might lose a starting role, but you're still going to play a lot of defense. There's transfer Robert Wooten, who was from Virginia Tech, who had to sit out last year, who he's getting his first kind of performance this year. And then we've got a freshman, Ty Canna, who I've heard some good things about. He's made an all-freshman list. So some of those guys, anybody I haven't touched on that you're really liking what you're seeing, that you're hearing good things about, that we should be on the lookout for at that linebacker crew?
Yeah, so here's the thing, these guys are starters, but the way this defense operates, man, it's going to be, I'm telling you, that's how it should be. You're going to see full swaps at linebacker, full swaps at DB and corner, safety and corner, and the strong, or what is it? What do they call it? The spur position.
Right.
I don't even know.
But
I can't keep up.
It's just the hybrid position.
Terminology now.
Yeah, but no, all these linebackers can play. Dimitri Moore, I've seen him go with the ones, twos. He's on all special teams. He's gonna be one of our guys.
Can rap too.
Yeah, and he can rap. Yeah, Mr. NIL.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. There'll be games where Dimitri will have lead us in tackles, just because he's on. But Ty Canna, true freshman. Obviously, I've seen him on special teams making plays, playing very hard. He's got a lot of talent ahead of him, but he's definitely going to get in. And when he's in, I'm confident that Bookbinder and staff are going to have him in the right position to make plays, because it's not lack of talent for sure. But yeah, like I said, all these guys got to be ready to go, and we got a good group of seniors, transfers, and then some youth behind it to keep that foundation strong.
Yeah, Dustin, you have any of those guys that you're kind of interested in or want to point out?
Yeah, I mean, I kept hearing everything about Dimitri Moore being such a big transfer all year. So it's kind of nice to know Kosai Eldridge just kind of, I don't know about came out of nowhere, but was way more underwhelming as a transfer coming in than Moore was. And so it's actually nice to hear that he has, quote unquote, beat him out. But like you said, we just added another dude that's really good to rotate in and out.
Exactly.
And then if anybody does get hurt, we're not demoralized by it and so down on it. So that's good to hear. Back to Jacob Rodriguez. What a freaking baller, going to Virginia to play quarterback. And then, because at Wichita Falls Rider, he played both ways, but Virginia was going to give him the chance to play quarterback, and then put on 30 pounds and comes back and he's like, I'll go back to Tech and play linebacker. I can do it. I can still do it. What a baller, man.
What was he, third string at Virginia?
Yeah, something like that. And Tech was on him coming out of high school, but they wanted him, play linebacker, and he wanted to stick with quarterback for that time. So it's nice for him to come back and try it out.
He's 100% linebacker. You look at him, man, you're like, there's no way you just play. You're just in a quarterback room. And he plays so hard, and he's mean, and he's just West Texas, man, all the way around. And he's making a name. And he's going to be in the rotation, and you're going to hear his name a lot for sure. For sure.
I think that's definitely one of the cool things about this team, if you've just kind of been listening to things, is that there's so many dudes that just play hard, right? That's the brand. We're going to be the toughest working team. And, Wells had some similar things to that, but it always kind of felt like bullshit, because you immediately went out and saw them on Saturday, and you could see the team kind of lay down. But, everything that you've heard is everybody is competing week in, week out, and you have dudes who aren't supposed to be on your radar that are making plays in practice and are earning starting positions. And so I think that's really cool. Dimitri Moore stood out to me. I remember seeing him at the spring game and being like, who the hell is that dude? Cause he looked out there. Yeah. I was like, that guy, and so that's pretty impressive. And so just kind of to wrap up here, Keenan, what are your just expectations for this linebacking group this season? And where do you value them on this defensive success?
Man, I think they're a very underrated group. Just some of the names. Jacob Rodriguez isn't a guy that people are worried about. But then, game day, all you're going to see is a bunch, what is he, number 12, 13, flying around. He's number 13. You're going to see a lot of it. And that's just kind of that whole mentality of the group. The leader of that group, Mayweather, is slept on as well. Very underrated. But he's definitely the leader of that group. And you can tell, like, he's the best. He works hard. He leads. And, I mean, the younger guys have no other option but to follow. So I think very underrated group. We're going to need a lot out of them. The leading tackler is going to be out of that group, so they got to be ready. But I think we have a good 5 or 6 guys that we can rotate, and we haven't been able to say that, in the past.
Yeah. It seems like you got several guys in there who you would look up and wouldn't be surprised to see them leading the team in tackles this particular week. Dustin, any parting thoughts on the linebacking crew here?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. They're very slept on, but there's a lot of talent there. I mean, with Merriweather and all these other guys we brought in, I think that's just why there's question marks. It's just they're just a little more unknown than a lot of the guys. Like our D back and D line group have 3, 4, 5 guys that have been there for a while. Like we know these guys very well. So I think that's the thing is they're the most unknown group, and I think they're going to surprise some people.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's get into it. The secondary. This is Keenan. Keenan's familiar with this position, this group. This is the most experienced group on the defense heading back. So I'm just going to kind of run through all of the guys that returning. Hopefully, I don't leave any names out. If I do, Keenan, shout them out. But like the guys that we have been familiar with here at Tech, you got Rashad Williams returning after a pretty solid season last year. So as we go through this, let's just kind of touch on these guys because I think like each one of these guys individually is very exciting. So Keenan, Rashad Williams, what are your thoughts on him after like he had a pretty, I think, kind of slept on season last year. Like you didn't really hear his name a lot, and as a cornerback, that's fantastic. So what are your thoughts on Rashad?
Dude, just super athletic, long, physical, and if you wanted to draw, a corner, like a press corner, I mean, you couldn't draw it any better.
Yeah.
And he's got range. He can cover man. He can play the zone. He'll come down and tackle. He does a lot of things that you look and like, man, he could definitely be playing on Sundays.
Dustin, your thoughts on Rashad, man? I remember having RC on last year, and RC was a big Rashad Williams guy, and then,
yeah, he is.
And then I thought he went on to have a pretty solid season. He didn't get the interceptions I think that a lot of us were thinking that he might get, but interceptions doesn't prove what you're worth at the corner.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the most reliable dudes out there. I mean, I know he had a couple guys get injured, but he was super reliable. Played every game out there.
Mm-hmm.
Was second on the team in pass breakups with 10 of them. And so, like he's saying, with his length and size, like you love to see that out there. And playing every game as a junior, and now he's going to come back, like just add to that experience.
Yeah.
And just like we talked with that D line group, like it's great to have a dude it's coming back, and all right, we know what he's going to do already.
Right.
Yeah, and he, you can tell, man, that junior to senior year off season is massive. Especially you're playing in 12 games last year, man. Like you're super confident. You can do it. You've put good film out there, and it's just all about building in the spring and fall, and he's done that. And there's just no reason to think like he's not due for a big season because he's put in the work, and you can tell.
So I was trying to figure out, because they're all listed at defensive back, who is expected right now to be like that second cornerback on the other side? Do you know, Keenan?
Well, yeah. So Adrian Fry, our 5-year guy, he's the leader of that D-back group. I mean, he is a veteran. Yep. He is a veteran, and he leads that group. And like I said, like if Fry had to come out and Malik Dunlap comes in, like we're good. Like we're great. Malik Dunlap is 6'4", 230 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we're good.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, he's massive. But yeah, Fry is definitely listed as that
okay.
I guess the one corner, and then you have Rashad at the 2, but that it's gonna be interchangeable for sure.
Yeah, Adrian.
Fry's been a starting corner for what?
4 years? Yeah, 5 years. Yeah.
I don't even know anymore.
Dude.
Like
didn't he have that?
Have like crazy good numbers, but he's been pretty solid and reliable also.
I think Fry came in the year after I graduated in 17.
Yeah, he had that long, fumble return against Texas where he ripped it out of the running back's hand and then ran it all the way back, and he's still playing for us.
Yeah, he's still playing.
And he did a little punt returning last year for you after you kind of struggled at punt returning. He kind of
he's still our punt returner. For right now, he's still listed as our one punt returner. So
another guy that we got
2017 freshman.
It's so crazy, especially with
that's 6 years.
Now. Oh,
that's 6 years.
The super senior.
Super, yeah.
But excited to have him back though, because it's another consistency and experience. And another guy coming back, Reggie Pearson. So the transfer from Wisconsin, we got to see him last year, and he had some pretty big moments. Although his season was kind of injury riddled last year.
Yeah.
If you remember in the Mississippi State bowl game, though, he absolutely destroyed that Mississippi State running back in one of the dirtiest hits I've seen in a long time. So excited to have, hopefully a healthy season from him, because he looks like he can be a dude back there. What do you think about Reggie Pearson, man?
Dude, Reggie reminds me a lot of myself.
Yeah.
I love watching two play, man. He's just electric, and it's cool because they play a lot of cover 3, so he doesn't really have to worry about the post. So he's literally just like a buzz safety, man, and he's got great instinct, and once he sees run, he's on it. But he's also got good ball skills. He wants to get picks, and just an athlete.
Yeah,
and he's due for a big year. Obviously, got to stay healthy. That's everybody, but that's the biggest thing. Health is wealth. But he's put on some. He looks a lot. He's not a big guy, but he looks fit. He looks stronger. But he can stay healthy. He'll have a big season too.
Yeah, I'm really excited about Reggie. Dustin, your thoughts on Reggie Pearson?
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of known for that hard hitting and likes his. Could we see him more as like a hybrid and linebacker type dude rather than just in the secondary with this kind of versatile defense?
It's a good thing that I'm saying no, because we have, like I said, Kosai, who could play safety if he had to. And then we have, Marquise Waters, who we'll talk about, I'm sure, here pretty quick, who's a linebacker playing the nickel, the safety position. So, I mean, Pearson's right where he needs to be in that strong safety, Palomalu, just buzz area. They play a lot of cover 3, so it's good for him. He's in a good spot for sure.
Cool.
Yeah, expecting big things from him. Yeah, let's get into him. Muddy Waters. He was really impressive at the start of last season, and unfortunately got hurt, missed the rest of the season. But he's back. He's looking healthy. He's
a monster, dude. He's built like a freaking what do they call him? He's built like Micah Alway. You remember Alway?
Yeah.
He's listed at 6'1", 215.
Yeah, he's all of it for sure.
Yeah, so what are you expecting from him after, a season that was cut short, and one that he, started off well? He had that pick 6 in the Florida International game. That was, great read. So what are you expecting from him this year?
Yeah, so, okay, the position they call it is a star position. So it's just like a hybrid.
Yeah.
Right, and at 3-3-5, it's more like a strong nickel. He's not really, doesn't have to worry about covering. He'll be doing a lot of flats, so he's definitely going to be tearing some heads apart in that flat, catching some running backs on some hooks and some flare outs. But yeah, he's been like the vocal leader, him and Rabbit, but he's very emotional, very passionate, and he brings that energy. I think he's, if not the leader, one of the leaders in that secondary, even though he's not on the back end anymore.
Right. Dustin, your thoughts on Muddy Waters? Honestly, the best nickname on the whole team too. So
yeah, for sure. But yeah, a lot of hype for him because of what you mentioned, like good opening to that first half of last year, and then we lose him for the rest of the year. But it's nice to hear Keenan say we're kind of going to utilize him in that nickel and almost inside corner spot, whatever you want to call it. But he can match up with bigger dudes at tight end, but he can go cover running backs, and won't get burned by small dudes inside either, because he's we know he has those ball skills. Tackle and has the size, so it's good to have a dude like that. But I guess it's also nice that we have guys like Adrian Fry and Williams on the outsides. We can put him in that middle to really excel.
Yeah, that's the thing. All these guys they can rotate, but like the thing with Muddy, like we know, like he's not the best cover guy. So why put him in that position?
Right.
Let him be a flat. Let's play cover three. Let him roll the flat. Let him track the ball from there. A lot of balls go out to the flat in the Big 12, quick too. And he can get there, but he can also come downhill, fill in a B gap, or keep contained. Like he's got the size, he's got the speed. So let's get him close to the ball, but also far enough to make plays on the ball. So I mean, he's right where he needs to be as well.
And let's get into my favorite defensive back.
Rabbit, baby.
Rabbit, man. I loved watching him last year. You can just see the potential growing in this dude. His ability to read defenses, to make plays out of nowhere. I mean, there'd be times where it looked like he was beat, and then all of a sudden he's there knocking the ball away. What do you think about, Rabbit and him returning this season? And it looks like he's been a leader of this group. He was at Big 12 Media Days. Always look to those Big 12 Media Days at who's been there, because that's somebody these coaches really trust and put a lot in. But he's one of those dudes who's really bought into this program. I expect a big season from him. What do you think about Rabbit and what he brings to this team this year?
Yeah, the sky's the limit for Rabbit. I mean, he's had a really good offseason, like I said, that junior to senior year. You just, after having the season you did your junior year, you just think differently. And he's taking control of that defense. You go to any practice, you're going to hear 25 yelling. Like, you get the same 25 every day. And I always tell him that when I see him, like, never change. And you can tell, like, he's got it figured out. He knows the defense. Hats off. Like, people just think that's like easy, right? A new terminology, new coach coming in, new DB coach wanting you to do different things as far as your breaks. Like, he's completely bought in. You would have thought he played for DeRuter for 4 years. Like, he's leading everybody. Everybody looks back to him for any calls, and he's doing a great job. He's definitely matured. And dude, sky's the limit for Rabbit. He's in for a good year.
Dustin, your thoughts on Rabbit, right quick?
Yeah, man. I feel like the sky's the limit for this dude.
Yeah.
Bringing back the dude that had the most. I mean, he wasn't your best tackler, I guess. So was it obviously Monroe, but he had the most breakups with 12, and he had the most interceptions with 4. No, that doesn't sound like huge numbers, but in this new DeRuter offense and what Joey McGuire wants to do, and he wants 2 or 3 takeaways a game, he's going to let a dude like Rabbit, go loose a little bit more and go get that ball. And you mentioned earlier, like he wants them to go get that ball on 3rd down. And so sky's the limit for this dude, honestly. So
yeah, he's got great definitely. He's got like that honey badger trait. Like he's always around the ball. It's just something you can't even. I don't know. It just happens. Jay Sean Johnson was like that too. It's just one of those things. Like these guys are around the ball, and he just has that. He has that gift, and definitely great ball skills. Very instinctive. Just he's a great free safety, and definitely somebody you want to have in the back end that has that type of range, but who can also come down and make a tackle when he needs to.
We need cool nicknames for everybody else, like
I know,
Rabbit
right?
and Muddy, and the other dudes need to get something.
Yeah, no doubt.
They can just call Adrian Fry old dude and
okay,
super senior. So some of the other guys, I had Kosi Eldridge here, but he's kind of taken on more of a linebacker role. What about, Kobe Minor, Malik Dunlap? You brought them up. These are just kind of guys who have been a part of Texas Tech. I've got a little thing for freshmen and some of the transfers in, but what are you expecting from these guys and, what's already a pretty deep room?
Yeah, I can only really speak on Kobe Minor because he's made some really good big plays in camp. Yeah, he's another guy who brings that energy like every practice. Like it's hard, man. Day 1, obviously everybody's ready to be out there, but day 15, day 16, when you're not starting, that affects the second and third string. But he's been consistent. He's definitely, you're going to see him out there, and I'm sure when he's out there, he'll be making plays. Very disciplined corner. Isn't scared to tackle. Great ball skills. Probably out of all the corners, probably the best ball skills. But the guys in front of him they're different breeds.
It's like crazy. So you talk about all these guys. We've talked about Rayshad, Reggie, Adrian, Muddy, Rabbit. And then you throw in like Kobe Minor. And then you got 2 transfers. Tyler Owens, who comes in. He had 3 years at UT. He comes in. And then you got Keon Blakenbaker, who comes in having 4 years at Wyoming. So what do you expect to see from these transfers? Is it kind of like just same competing every day kind of stuff that we've been saying?
Yeah, I think you're going to see them making plays on special teams. I think you're going to see them plugging and playing when we're playing Baylor and it's a shootout and we've gone 80
Yeah.
plays. The ones that have gone 80 plays and they're gassed. You're going to see these guys who have played at this level come in and handle it, and that's not to be said lightly because you don't find that anywhere. That's something I never had, but
Right.
and that's something that you'll see like these guys, Kobe Minor, Owens, like they're going to be very valuable to this team because we all know the truth. Like no one's going to be healthy all year. That's just part of
Right.
it. So these names are going to become a lot more sticky, come week 7, 8, 9, no doubt.
Dustin, you have any thoughts on some of these guys that we mentioned here out of the transfers, and then Kobe Minor, Malik Dunlap?
I think the other Tyler Owens kind of sticks out to me, being at Texas for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Just having another Big 12 safety coming over. Like he knows these other 9 teams, even 9 teams, even with Texas, I guess, that you're going to be playing. So it's not all unfamiliar territory for him. But my question was kind of, and you might mention one of these guys we haven't yet. If one of these 5 or 6 experienced dudes goes down, who's maybe that next dude, Keenan, that pops up and we're like, damn, all right.
Yeah.
Like who's that guy that jumps out at us?
There's a few. Definitely Kobe Minor. I think Kobe Minor, different situation, different team, probably a starter. So I think he's ready to go. I can't remember his name. He's a safety. He's number 31. He goes with the 2s. He's ready to play. It just happens that he has 2 seniors ahead of him that are really good. But it's a good spot to be in as a fan, as a coach, having these guys that Pearson happens to go Rabbit or Pearson are in the post 3 times in a row because Baylor's throwing fades. Like it's good to have somebody you can plug and play and not have to worry about changing your call. Just doing the same thing. So it's hard to say. Any of these guys I feel comfortable with. The deepest secondary we've ever had. So I'm ready to just see the rotations, and that excites me.
Yeah,
a lot of guys, a lot of playing time.
Because we talked about all these guys, and there's still freshmen in this group. We haven't even got 2 of the freshmen yet. And like the 2 of the bigger recruits that he got this season were 4-star guys, Marion Horn and Landon Hullaby, who are like 4-star DBs. So are you expecting anything from them this season? Because I think Marion Horn was your biggest recruit that you brought in.
Yeah. See, Hullaby hasn't been practicing, so maybe it's I don't think it's a red shirt deal. I think he's just maybe nurturing an injury. Which at this point, why rush him? We don't need to.
Yeah, you don't need.
We don't need him. That red shirt year hits different. Yeah, he'll go from 190 to 210 and get faster and stronger. Like, why not take that route? So, and I think Horn's actually nurturing an injury too. Like, we're good. Like, we're so good. It's a good spot to be in. Like, there were times when I probably shouldn't have been playing where I just didn't have a choice.
Right.
And
you have cast on a few times.
Yeah. Well, I was told not to play my last 6 games, but I was like, well, we're going to put a cast on it. But I had 10 screws in my arm. I was like, we got to pad this thing up. I got to go.
Yeah.
And that was really like, I wanted to do it, but my coaches were like, hey, we kind of need you to do it.
Yeah.
I want to mention these young guys, like in years past, like we just mentioned, like how great the depth is. Like in years past, if we would have got a big time 4-star like Horn, Tech fans would be beating the door down to have him play and start and be out there as much as possible. So he's what, 2nd, 3rd string, whatever you want to call it, like 8th on the depth chart, 6th, wherever you want to slot these guys. But it's nice that we don't have to put them in. And a guy like Hullaby can take care of his injury and get fully healthy before like forcing it out there. Like it's nice to have that. Then you don't have to force dudes out there, play them too early or too hurt. And so it's a good problem to have.
We just got to hope and pray, like now with NIL and the portal, we got to hope these guys stick around because it's a lot easier to leave than it was when I was playing. And it's not frowned upon like it was when I was playing either. So we got to just hope, which I know McGuire and staff are doing a good job of being about a culture and a family and sticking together. But,
The other good thing about that, though, like We just mentioned all those stud
the guys we got from the portal
that are super seniors. They're leaving after this year. Like, you can sell these guys like, hey, you're starting next year for sure.
Yeah. What do we have? We have six seniors.
Yeah. So like,
there's room.
You might be sitting this year. You might spot play, but that'll give you a lot of time. You can grow. You can learn. Next year, it's all you, little.
Yeah, we're not having any problems recruiting DBs out of high school or even the portal because we have never had 6 seniors in the backfield ever.
Now their challenge is to not let us go recruit transfer portal guys, right? Like y'all be the guy, y'all be the guys who run back there, and then we don't have to go get transfers from other schools. But this is as exciting of a defensive group as we've had in a while. I think like when you think to the secondary. You just haven't had like this kind of depth back there. So like just kind of now that we've kind of gone through guy by guy, Marcel Yates is our DB coach. Kind of what do you expect from him? What do you expect from this group this season? Like I kind of have a question here. How much of this season's success correlates with this group being like really, really good?
I mean, I think it's, just as important as any group, but, we all know it starts up front,
right.
It's kind of hard to dictate in the back or in the secondary if your job is post and you're having to go tackle a running back 25 yards downfield, there's really nothing you can do.
Right.
But, I mean, no, Yates is great. We got Jayshon Johnson back there as a GA. He brings that energy. He's done it firsthand. So I love that.
I bet he's a fun coach to play for.
Oh, man, for sure. He's
can't get targeting on the sideline at the GA, can he?
No, exactly, right? Exactly.
Just check.
Nobody ever got more bullshit targeting calls than Jayshon Johnson.
Oh, dude.
Nobody. It pisses me off to this day.
Yeah.
It's like face mask,
Oklahoma State.
Guy in the helmet, it's targeting.
Our hatred of the replay system comes from.
Oh, man.
Is that all it is?
He's had some bad ones, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I just got reheated just thinking about. I remember, I think it was like Oklahoma State. He tackles this guy with his face mask, touches him, and he was ejected for targeting. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I remember that one. But no, I mean, I think if stuff gets out of hand, I think the team's gonna look to that secondary group to see how we respond because we got so many leaders back there. So I think that's where most of the weight's gonna come from. But yeah, I mean, balls in the air, make plays, make tackles. It's pretty simple back there. But as far as leadership, I think that's going to be the biggest thing. We got the secondary has so many guys with big voices. I think it's going to be important when we get down 14-0 or whatever that they're the group leading.
Yeah, I think definitely for me, it's just there's so many guys here that like you can trust and rely on and have been here and fought for you. And like you said, like a lot of the voices on this defense come from back here. So, Dustin, I'll kick it over to you. Your kind of expectations and for this group this season.
Yeah, I think they should be big expectations. One, going off of last year being one of the worst pass defenses, whether that be all your fault or not. Those numbers are still there. And so having all these guys back and starting healthy and that experience, they remember that. They know those numbers. They get all that stuff, and they use that. And then, like I mentioned to Keenan earlier, like Joey McGuire bringing over that take 3 mentality from Baylor that they like to do and being aggressive, getting turnovers. I mean, Baylor led the Big 12 in turnovers last year by a wide margin.
Yeah.
They led interceptions by a lot more than everybody else too, because of that kind of mentality. And I think that mentality and coaching mixed with this experience is a great combination. And the expectation should be high to disrupt passes and take the ball away.
Yeah, so Keenan,
I got a hot take.
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll have the most guys with PBUs in the Big 12. I'm not saying we'll have the leading PBU guy, but like a whole secondary, we'll have the most.
I like that.
Okay.
I think, I mean, you look at the guys we're bringing back, I think that's a fair thing to assess, and that's something that you really hope for. I was just going to, I had a question and then it just left my mind.
My bad. It was a hot take. My bad.
No, you're good. You're good. It's just kind of it was on the take three thing. Like, what do you think the take three mentality has done for this defense? What have you seen kind of from that, and do you expect those turnovers to go up this year, kind of because of that? And I guess that goes into pass breakups. Like pass breakups are almost as good as an interception sometimes. You know,
for sure. Sometimes they're better.
Yeah,
that's how you know you have a smart DB, a guy who will bat a ball down on 3rd and 18.
Believe that. No,
but yeah, I think it's important. I mean, I think all DCs come in with the mentality of taking the ball away, but then you go back, like I go and watch practice, and you see the coaches like actually emphasizing, like you see the GAs literally like running to the ball, beating the guys on the field to the ball, making it urgent, and that's just something like, all right, we're not just preaching, like we're not just saying it, like we're not going to put a sign up saying like take three, like this is how we live, this is how every day we wake up with this mentality, not just you on the field, but like everybody, this whole family, like it's urgent. We got to get the ball out. And I think we'll see more turnovers just by seeing the work that they put in this fall camp and in the spring. Like it's definitely a different vibe. And when they say take three, they definitely mean it.
Yeah, that's encouraging to hear, because it has felt like we've been preached on turnovers for a while, and you know, you really haven't seen those numbers change a whole lot. And so like, you know, how much that affects a game is getting, you know, a couple turnovers a game just completely changes it, gives your offense more possessions. And so I love to hear that they're living by that, and it's not just something that they say and take lightly, that it's something that they're trying to enforce. So group that you're correlating the most success with this season, if like Texas Tech wins 8 games or something, you're saying it's in the trenches from kind of what we talked about. You're thinking that defensive line is the main reason?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I mean, that's where it starts up front. They're the dictators. Good pushes lead to bad balls. They lead to floaters. They lead to just more opportunities for everybody. I hate to put so much pressure on a group, but it's always been that way. It's always been that way.
Right? That's why they signed up for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Same with the O-line. We operate as they operate. But, I mean, the success lies on them. But other than that, like our running backs and our secondary, I mean, that's the backbone. Yeah, that's going to be the difference between, you know, 2 or 3 like game deciding wins. Those two groups right there.
I think there's a lot of similarities between those, you know, while there's more defensive backs in that room, but you know, your top 2 running backs being Roderick and Todd, like that's huge for that room. So I think that's a good comp. Dustin, I'm guessing is defensive line for you as well, because we all know that got to get it done there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for sure. And I've mentioned it, like getting pressure on quarterback causes, you know, fumbles, pressure. You know, they start keeping a tight end or running back in. That helps everybody else out on the back end.
Yeah.
And should help your run defense. Like it helps everybody. Like it all starts up front. And hopefully we have better dudes. Like we have guys on the back end that can hold up enough, but we know from many, many years past, we can go 20 years back and say defense that doesn't always cut it in the Big 12 anymore, you know?
I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah. So we don't want all those dudes in the back end getting burned left and right just because the quarterbacks are having all day.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing, man. DeRuter, he's creative. He's going to get pressure, whether that's from, you know, Muddy on the outside from the nickel, or if that's from Kosai, you know, our strong linebacker, our weak side linebacker. He's very multiple, and he's almost just like a wizard back there. He finds ways to free people up, and that's just going to supplement our defensive line that we know isn't the strongest or the most deep, but you're not going to notice it because we're going to get pressure elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's a lot of really intriguing guys that you've kind of mentioned that can be so versatile on this defense that you can see probably all over the field making their impact by getting pressure on the quarterback, by playing coverage. So that's something I feel like we've been missing for a while. But I'm with you guys. Like it's up front. If you can make a quarterback uncomfortable early in the game, like that changes the entire game. And have him nervous. Like you think about that Houston game, like he got nervous. He threw 4 picks in that game, and that we looked like a damn good team after game. Of course, injuries and stuff like that changed it. But Keenan, we've talked about every group here. We've gone through it. This has been a thorough defensive breakdown. So now I will, throw it over to you. Any parting thoughts you want to shout out on this defense? Any bold predictions besides the one you already gave us on this defense? Last thoughts you want to get out here? It's your time.
Yeah, I think obviously this has been like the most hype offseason that Tech football's ever had, since I can remember.
Yeah, so real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you were here for those early Cliff years.
Yeah, the first year of Cliff was pretty cool too. The Kings coming back home like that.
Yeah, I was gonna.
That was a fun year too. Yeah.
What would you compare this to that? How would you compare it with?
It's pretty close. I don't really know because I was playing, so I wasn't.
Yeah.
And Twitter wasn't as crazy in 2013.
Yeah.
It feels a lot more electric now, just because McGuire's all over Twitter. Cliff obviously wasn't on Twitter at all. He didn't have to be. But it's different times, but it definitely feels the most electric I've seen it.
Sorry to interrupt. I was just curious.
You're
good. Any bold predictions and final thoughts?
Yeah, I think I would tell Red Raider Nation, let's be realistic, right? This is still a first-year coach, first-year defense, Kitley's first year. We got a lot of new guys. We got a lot of returners, but it's still a very young team where it matters. Let's be realistic. But I'm very optimistic about this team. I am drinking the Kool-Aid, no doubt. And I could see us going anywhere from 8-4 with the bowl win. But realistically, even 5 or 6 wins. That's still a good year, depending on how those losses look. But 5-6 wins. But I'm going with 8-4 with the bowl win, so 9-4.
I like that. I think, it's a lot of being realistic, and we all want to drink the Kool-Aid. I'm so in on Joey McGuire and everything that I've heard about this staff. Just talking today, I'm so amped up. But yeah, being realistic for a first-year coach, first-year coordinators. We got this from the last time we talked to you. Is stability is key, and you're introducing a whole new things to this team. So let's be realistic, but let's take the W's where we can get them. Do we have coaches that make the right calls to get us in winning situations? I think that's an obvious upgrade because we had a coach who made some questionable decisions over the last few years that put us in bad situations. So just having some guys who are going to try to, it sounds like you're all in on them, putting players in to reach their full potential. And that's just really encouraging to hear. Dustin, you have anything for this defense that you want to shout out here? Any bold predictions that you might have or anything like that?
I'll say this. Keenan's made me feel better about this defense and all these guys, where they just be his knowledge and firsthand being there. So that makes me feel a lot better. And I think kind of to piggyback on Keenan's bold take, but I'll go ahead and go with we'll lead the Big 12 in turnovers next year.
Love that.
All right, let's do it.
I'll go out and say Tyree's going to lead the Big 12 in sacks.
I definitely think that is something.
I'm going to go say Tyree Wilson finds himself as a top 10 pick in the NFL draft.
Definitely see him as a first rounder.
We didn't have a single defensive player on the first team all Big 12. I'll say we have 2. I think Tyree finds himself as a first team. And then, Rabbit. I think, you could pick and choose any single one of those guys that we talked about. It wouldn't shock me, but I love Rabbit, and I'll go Rabbit as another guy who makes first team. And so I got 2 first teamers from us. Any other things y'all are thinking? I like those because, if those happen, that means we're probably along the lines of that 8 season,
Yes.
Maybe even better.
It's a great take. I'm all in on that. All in.
Well, cool. Dustin, any final defensive thoughts here?
No, man. He made me feel a lot better about this.
As you should. Yeah. I've been around a lot this fall, both scrimmages, a lot of practices. Man, it's the coaches. The coaches just bring this energy, man. And as a player, it's just unmatched. It's got the high school feel to it, like you're playing for something more than just a starting spot or Big 12. Or it's like, dude, this is like family. And I'll try to get an insider clip for you guys to see just that energy for sure.
Oh yeah,
well, make sure that's approved.
We'll make sure it's approved.
But man, well, we always appreciate you taking the time out to join us. This was a great defensive breakdown from a guy who knows defense and a guy who's been around watching these practices. And so we appreciate you hopping on the tailgate, talking some defense with us for a little over an hour. And we can't wait to see this team week 1. We are just a little over a week away. It's crazy that we're getting so close to it. So anything you want to shout out here, shout out where people can find you on social media, your realtor business and everything like that. Here's your chance to kind of do that real quick.
Yeah, appreciate that. So I'm a full-time realtor, guys, helping people every day, Lubbock locals first, and then, my out-of-staters. But seriously, you can find me on Instagram, Keenon Ward _realtor. Post a lot of content there on Instagram, Facebook as well, just Keenon Ward. If you know anyone looking to buy or sell, have them reach out to me. Lubbock to the core. Love helping my people of Lubbock, giving back any way I can. Reach out to me. I'd love to help.
All right, man. Well, once again, thanks for joining us, talking some defense with us. We can't wait for this season, and we can't wait to hopefully talk to you down the road about some successful defense and stuff like that this season, man. Appreciate it.
No doubt. Thank y'all, man. Y'all have a good night.
Thanks, dude.
All right, hit stop. Don't hop.